Let's wind this puppy up. 5, 4, 3.
It's episode 290, and we've got plugins for removing old slugs, removing products, cropping background images, remote site search, and custom states for WooCommerce. It's all coming up next on WordPress Plugins A to Z. WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet. And with over 30,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gems? Join John Overall and Marcus Couch for this weekly unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress Plugins A to Z.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the future. I'm John Overall.
And from the now, I'm Marcus Couch.
Coming to you from the future, meaning that this show is pre-recorded because Marcus is having himself a grand old time in Las Vegas at the Affiliate Summit West. Hopefully, anyway.
Yeah, by the time you've heard this, I've already done my speech on how to increase affiliate revenue with membership sites. So hopefully that went well. And we just wanted to make sure, this is what John and I do for you, just to make sure that the episode stream doesn't get interrupted. We take extra time to make sure that you have an episode this week. So we're pre-recording this, but the plugins are always relevant for you and your installation.
Absolutely.
So we do appreciate it.
And to those of you who might have donated between the last show and this one, we'll definitely bring you forward onto the next show and talk about it all then. And for that, we greatly appreciate it. So, of course, right off the top, don't forget you can get all the show notes over at WPPlugins A2Z.com. And if you got a few minutes, we'd greatly appreciate your time on Stitcher Radio, hitting that little thumbs up button in the corner, or leaving us a review on their website, or stopping into the iTunes store and leaving us reviews there. They really help the show's rankings.
Yeah, it does help, and it helps to grow the audience. And just to let you know, I mean, we've grown probably 20-fold since the time I've been on board the show.
Oh, absolutely. When you started with the show, I think we had like 20 or 30 downloads a week.
Yeah, and now it's well, a lot more than that. Then. Yeah.
We have over 1,500 downloads per week plus of the show.
Yeah, and that's hardcore people. That's a niche, man. That's people that love WordPress podcasts. So we're happy to help out any way we can, and in exchange we ask you to help us out. In one way that you can help us out is by leaving that review on iTunes. Remember that if you leave your link to your service or maybe to a client or something like that in your review, we'll not only read it out loud, but we'll also put it in the show notes so you get some link love as well.
Absolutely. And of course, a little bit of self-promotion, or at least self-promotion for the WPPlugins A2Z.com website. Go to WPPlugins A2Z.com/jobs and check out the job board there. If you're a WordPress professional or you know a WordPress professional, tell them to check out the board, sign up for the board. If you've got jobs to promote them there. You never know what you might find. We're hoping to attract a lot of professionals to this board to help the community out and help the developers find great work.
Absolutely. And if you are new to anything that I've done, or you've maybe attended Affiliate Summit West and wanted to learn a little bit more about what it is that I do, I will say this: go to marcuscouch.com and sign up to the newsletter that I send out, and I will include my presentation that I gave at Affiliate Summit West, so you can watch that.
Absolutely. It'd be a really great thing to watch. Okay, and of course, we mentioned briefly that any donors that'll be coming in during this episode here will bring you up to date on the next episode. And if you would like to donate to the show, we really would appreciate you donating to the show, as it helps us to put more time into the show, more time into the website, more time into all the little bits and pieces to help this make a fantastic show, and eventually even bring in more and more great content to the show. So you can donate on the website in numerous places there, or just go to WPPlugins A2Z.com/donate, or you can go to patreon.com/WPPlugins A2Z and become a Patreon donor too.
Absolutely. That would help us out a lot. John and I would love to take this to more of a video format so that you can visually see some of the things. And oftentimes there are plugins that I don't specifically bring to the show because they're too hard to describe in audio. Easy to describe when you're showing a before and after in terms of how a plugin works, but often difficult over audio. So we'd love to expand into that realm, but it is going to take a lot of support from the audience, and we do reach out to you. Hopefully you'll get value out of what it is that we present to you every single week, and you'll want to give that value back to us. So anything that you can contribute would be great.
Yeah, and I think you're talking more like an interactive video between you and me, right, Marcus?
I'd like to do that, and you know what? We could always even do an Ask Us Anything type of stuff where you could jump in and ask a question. Maybe we could take a look at your website, maybe tell you what kind of plugin you might need, anything like that. That's where we'd love to take this, but we need your support in order to do it.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I've been doing in the last few episodes, some people may have started to notice, is I've been doing a screencast of the show. And I've been putting the screencast up along with the video.
Right.
And I'm trying to show the plugins as we talk about them while we're working through it. And this is a rough work in progress as I learn to navigate the multiple things I do here between the boards and the mixer and everything else. So bear with us, folks. Little by little, some of these things will come to fruition.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, and I wanted to let everyone know that, yes, we do have a winner for the Barn2 Media giveaway for the WooCommerce password-protected categories, but unfortunately we're not announcing that because this is a pre-recorded show and the winner happens in between the last show and this show. But on the next show, we will announce who the winner is, and we'll also announce what the next contest will be and what license we will be giving away from what developer at that time.
Great. I love that we're giving things away now.
So I'm happy that developers have finally started stepping up to give us some licenses to give away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and a couple of little pieces of news this week. Not a whole lot, just a couple of great articles. This is a great article here on how to choose and crop a mobile-friendly hero image. It comes from WPFangirl.com. It's a really great article. So go check it out. And she's got a pretty interesting website there with some really great tips and other pieces in her blog. So lots of useful information.
Nice.
And also another article on why you don't want to block CSS and JavaScript files. It comes from Yoast.com. So check this one out. It's really interesting because a lot of people, when they set up their robots for text file, they end up blocking JavaScript and CSS, which actually impacts your search engine results.
Yeah, and your theme.
And your theme. Well, it shouldn't impact your theme. It just impacts the results with the robots.
The bots. Yeah.
The bots don't see it all correctly, so they will penalize you for it.
Yep. And
we do have a couple of little pieces of feedback this week. You want to take the first one there, Marcus?
Sure. It's from Australia. It's from Leo Castelletti, I think. Sorry, Leo, if I totally butchered that, but it's all run together, so I don't know where it goes. But it says, great, helpful podcast. Great podcast with great reviews of plugins. All right, short and sweet. Thank you, Leo. 5 stars.
From Australia at that.
Mm-hmm.
And another one from the U.S. This one here is a 5-star review from Layman Lab. Fun and informative podcast. A great way to learn about new plugins, WP news, and more. Worth checking out.
All right, then we've got another 5-star review from the U.S. from N. Camden. Great way to learn about plugins. The best. I've been a faithful listener for several years. This podcast tells me about plugins, but it also explains why a plugin is great or not so great. That's the caveat right there. We tell you what you can do with it, and especially if you are in the business and you do sites for clients, we tell you how you can make some extra money.
Absolutely. Okay, and so been a great listener for years. Well, don't be a bum. Donate to the show. That's
right. We need a catchy phrase. I don't know.
I like the bum one, man. Don't be a bum. Donate to the show. Now we need someone out there to produce a jingle for us.
Don't be a bum. Increase the sum.
There you go.
Of donations. All right.
Okay. Well, it looks like we can just dive right into the meat and potatoes on this one, eh?
All right. Let's go.
Off we go. This week here, I've got a great plugin for WooCommerce. It's called Woo Add Custom States. It is a freemium plugin, so you can get the premium version, which is only $5.95, or you can go with the free version from WordPress.org. Now, the plugin itself, it's comes about because of the implementation of the new shipping zones by WooCommerce and their new shipping system. And with the way it was set up in their new system, not all countries use zip or postal codes, and you may need to create custom states for shipping, as well as you might want to split some states or other areas into specific shipping zones or regions. This plugin allows you to create these separations to improve your shipping. The free version has limits on how many specific zones or regions you can create, but the premium plugin's unlimited, only $6. So check it out if you're using WooCommerce and you want to have your shipping more manageable and more under control. This plugin should help you out with that. It's called Woo Add Custom States, and I gave it a 3 dragon rating.
All right. Well, I also have a WooCommerce plugin to kick things off. This one is called Woo Product Remover, and basically it allows you to do one very simple thing with one click, and that is to remove all WooCommerce products from your site. It cleans up the database from the products, metadata, relationships, variations, coupons, all that stuff. If you just want to blow the store up, this is your plugin. It's Woo Product Remover, and I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Very nice. Be careful with that. Sounds like it could be a dangerous toy.
It is, but if you are just setting up WooCommerce, sometimes you are just...
you put a bunch of sample stuff in there. You need to terminate.
Yeah, blow it up, then put some new stuff in.
Absolutely. That's a great way to clean out your sample database instead of one by one. Done that before. The next on the list here, I've got a plugin that came about due to a request from a client for some work. It's called Remove Old Slugs. And what had happened is he was running the WooCommerce store, and as he was going along, his store is built up to such the point that that plugin or products have had name changes. They've been moved in locations, and WordPress creates, unbeknownst to many people, it creates what's called a backup slug. So if you create a title on a post or a page or a product or whatever, and then you go in and you change the title and change the slug, well, WordPress keeps the old slug in the database, and it creates a forwarding link in the database for you. So if you had a post that was post A and you changed it to post AB, that post A slug is still in the database, and if someone typed in post A, they would be directed to the post AB. But the problem comes along is if you have titles that were in similar names, like post A and AB, and then you needed one to go to AC, sometimes it would redirect back to post AB. I know it sounded a bit confusing, but this confusion happens in WordPress because of the old slug. So you might be trying to go to one product and it gets redirected to a product with a similar name instead of being directed to the correct product that it's going to. Now, to clean this up, what is often recommended is going through your database and running a query on the database to remove the old slugs. Well, during my research about how to clean this up, I ran across this plugin here called Remove Old Slugs. It's a very nice, easy plugin. You install it and bring it up, and it brings you a list of all the old slugs in your database, and you can go remove them one by one, nice and easily. A really great plugin to help you clean up that mess that is created by the old slugs without having to run a query against the database. And a really great plugin, so it can be quite useful to a lot of people out there. Give it a check out. I gave it a 4 dragon rating for Remove Old Slugs.
All right.
I hope that made
removing
some
all
sense.
kinds of stuff.
I hope
Yeah,
that
it does.
made some sense to people.
I'm sure it does. Okay, John, 4 years. How many years? 2, 3? WordPress API. How long? REST API. How long have we been talking about it?
2 or 3 years. I think the API has been kicking around now.
Okay, I finally found something that we can use to start exploring what it does.
Okay.
So this is called WP Remote Site Search, and it's a search plugin for WordPress that returns any other WordPress site's data back to that site using the REST API. So if you activate the plugin, you add the short code into it, to a page, post, anything like that, whatever the specific search happens to be, that's what the result is returned. I'm still playing around with this. For the one test that I did, it worked.
Oh.
And so here's what I'm getting at, people, is if you have one site and then you have another WordPress site, you can pull data from the others, from site A into site B using this plugin.
Holy smokes.
We've not been able to do that before.
No.
And this is the start of it. So this is the genesis, the birth, I guess, of REST API for me.
How's the search function return? Is it pretty decent search results? Or is it still the same WordPress for search
It's a value. It's whatever value you're searching for, or if it's
what I mean, are the results really usable? Are they often like the current WordPress search results? So is it?
Well, it searches for something else. It's not searching for content. It's searching for like how many posts do I have? How many posts do I have that have this tag in them?
Oh, okay.
On this other site, right? So as we start to learn these things, when do I start to incorporate like 6 or 7 different sites and create my own sort of stats internally?
Nice.
What's the newest? What's the most popular? What's all the rest? I mean, this is what the REST API was supposed to do for us. Mm-hmm. So if you want to get your feet wet, just dip your toe in a little bit with the REST API and have it talk between one site to the other without having to learn a ton of code. This is what you start with. It's called WP Remote Site Search, and I give it a 4 out of 5.
Very nice. This looks like it could definitely be a bit of a game changer. All right.
Yeah, try it out.
I think I will. I kind of like that because I've got a couple of sites I would like to bring the search results into WPPlugins.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The next plugin I've got here today is called the Awesome Designer. It was sent in to us by Steve DePires, and it's a really great plugin. It's a third-party service. You just install the plugin, activate your account at the third-party service for the Awesome Designer. And what it's for is if you run an e-commerce website or you have a client who runs one with custom printed things such as t-shirts, coffee mugs, books, pens, phone cases, you name it. The list is pretty endless. This allows people to upload an image, place that image, move it around, create the text, choose the font styles, all of these bits and pieces, and get themselves the perfect layout they're looking for. And then what it does for you is it provides you a fully print-ready, not PDF, but digital version of what you need for print and publications. It's a print composite image created from their web to print technology. It's pretty impressive in how it works. It's a really great plugin. It looks to be some of the things that many of you listeners out there have asked us for something to help create customized things in your WooCommerce store. And this looks like a really great thing. It is a third-party service, but considering what it does, I think a third-party service is about the only way you're going to be able to go with this unless you're on your own dedicated server platform, because what it does is pretty intense. So anyway, check it out. It's called the Awesome Designer, and I gave it a 4-dragon rating.
All right. Well, the final plugin that I've got is actually an official plugin that is sort of a candidate to be molded and put into Core. It is called Background Image Cropper, and it's just like how we have where we can crop an image for the headers.
Mm-hmm.
This does the exact same thing, but with background images, and it just helps to improve the experience. I imagine that they're going to put this within the customizer, but they're starting it out as a plugin first to gauge user interest and usability. So I encourage everybody to check out this plugin, download it, and if you can, interact with the developers. It's, like I said, it's an official WordPress plugin that is going to be brought into a future version of WordPress in Core, but this lets you try it out first to see how you like it. And maybe there's some things that you can think of that might make it better. And before it gets merged into WordPress core, you get to weigh your feedback. And so maybe your idea can transmit to the millions of installations that are going to happen around the planet after that. So here's your opportunity. It's called Background Image Cropper. Like I said, you just import an image, crop it the way that you want it to be in the background, and that's all you have to do. I rated this one a perfect 5 out of 5.
Very nice. Okay. I kind of like that. I don't do a lot of background images, but it can be quite nice for getting just the right look on them.
Absolutely.
Okay, that covers us up this week here. I covered up Woo, Add Custom States, which I gave a 4 to. Remove Old Slugs, which I gave a 4 to. And then the Awesome Designer, which I gave a 4 to.
And I talked about Woo Product Remover, which I gave a 4 to. WP Remote Site Search gets a 4 out of 5. And we just talked about Background Image Cropper, which gets a perfect 5 out of 5.
All right, and sharing up this space again with WP Kitchen, WP Kitchen Sink or Kitchen Sink WP, a great podcast. Yeah, I gotta get the words in the right order. So Kitchen Sink WP, a great podcast hosted by Adam Silver, really great guy. Some really great information and tips. He puts out his podcast on a regular, consistent basis, and lots of great information, interviews, and other tips. So go check him out. KitchenSinkWP.com.
Absolutely. Nothing from me this week, but looking forward to getting back next week and recording some new stuff. I've got some plugins in the works, and let you know some other projects and things that happened at Affiliate Summit.
Yeah, hopefully we get a good full report on how Affiliate Summit went and your great big party out in Las Vegas.
With Snoop Dogg. And you know who else is going to be there? What's his name? Ric Flair.
Who's that?
A wrestler.
Oh, okay.
Famous wrestler.
I'm not into wrestling, so.
Kind
of a tough one for me. I should learn more about sports.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, the user reminders, don't forget, you can find us in the iTunes store, and we'd greatly appreciate your time leaving us a review there. And if you're listening to us on Stitcher Radio, hit that little thumbs up button in the corner or leave us a review on their webpage.
Yeah. We look at those.
Absolutely.
All right. And how can they contact us, John?
They can find me on my website at johnoverall.com. And if you've got a couple of minutes, I greatly appreciate, or you can send me an email to john@wppro.ca.
All right. And if you'd like to, you can go to my website, marcuscouch.com, on Twitter at marcuscouch. And remember to follow this show on Twitter at WPPlugins A to Z.
And that's all we got for you now. Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.